as a fan, did you know, or well, not necessarily know, but did you think you wanted to be involved in wrestling? Because this was a different time where, even in the 90s, there was some level of internet. There was talks of the dungeon and the Monster Factory.
Mhm.
But at that point, I don't think you were often hearing about any training schools. Maybe in certain areas you heard about the AWAs, but otherwise, like, I don't think most people knew how to get into wrestling. So was that even a pipe dream for you at the time, or?
I mean, it was. I was a fan. Like it was always a pipe dream. It was, it was something I obviously always hoped to be involved with, but I didn't really see a tangible path at the time. So, I mean, I was first and foremost a fan up until, like you said, into the '90s when Rick Bassman opened up a school out here in Southern California, at first in like Mission Viejo, and that was the start of Ultimate Pro Wrestling in UPW, and and then I eventually got involved with that.
See, there's something I didn't know, and that's very interesting to me. I didn't know that was your entry point into the business. How did you first hear about it? Do you remember? And was it, were you planning to wrestle, or did you want to be a commentator from the beginning?
Sure. So I was an athlete. I played football my whole life. My brother, was a Division One 4-year starter at USC. Went and played in the NFL. I was kind of undersized as a D lineman, but it did make it to USC and got a scholarship at USC and played there. Really had to work hard to get it. But I mean, I was a first team all league and all county defensive lineman, and started both ways in
Oh,
high
wow.
school. And so I was very athletically inclined. In fact, wrestling was so like sewn into the fabric of who I was that so I went to Mission Viejo High School, which is a pretty notable football school out here, and they had a tradition that you would do these speeches, and they're the Mission Viejo Diablos as their mascot, and so they would have all the players that wanted to would write these speeches, and you would submit them to the coaches, and the coaches would pick a few of them, and then when you're in the locker room right before you're about to go out, walk that ramp down to the field, the players would read these speeches and get the team fired up. So, and they all started the same way. They all started with Diablo Brothers, Tonight We Must. And mine were just wrestling promos. I mean, I was way over the top. I used to paint the black around my eyes. Like I had like my nickname was the Death Dealer. And then I would cut wrestling promos. I remember the first like Diablo Brothers speech I gave. We were playing a team, and their mascot was the Falcons. And I think at one point I said, "The only way I like my bird is if it's on a plate. And tonight we shake them and bake them, brothers." And like, I mean, it's like I would I would end the speech. I was number 72. I remember I used to end the speech like, I don't know what the language barriers are on this or not, but I would be like,
You can say
I'd say,
whatever.
okay, so at the end, I would just go straight Hogan, and it'd be like, "So what are they gonna do when number 72 and the Diablo crew kick that shit out of you?" And all this stuff, and or I would do Taker and do the rest in peace and roll my eyes and stuff because I had the black face paint, and then everybody would just lose their mind and go nuts, and we'd hit the field. So like even in football, wrestling always had a big impact.
So, given that you
Uh,
were athletic, was that then your goal is to get into the athletic end of
yeah.
wrestling?
So when Bassman first opened up his school, I did go there and started training a little bit. I think it was Reggie Bennett was who a female wrestler that was wrestling in Japan a lot, was training there people there first, and then eventually Tom Howard, who trained a lot of the greats. But it was right around that time. So like I said, I was undersized. I mean, I had all kinds of accolades in high school, but in terms of moving up to college football, I had to take that one extra step. So I played at Saddleback JC first, at junior college. We ended up winning a national title. It was a blast. And then right around then, Bassman opened up, and I went there and trained a handful of times, and really I wanted to learn the craft. I just was always such a fan, and but it was right around that time that the opportunity came up because SC had some defensive linemen leave early for the draft, that they had some space and I could go in there and had a chance to to earn a scholarship. Wasn't a guarantee at first because they scholarships were capped out. So I did walk on at first, but then just busted my ass and earned a scholarship. And
Wow.
so at that point, when I had that opportunity at that type of education and everything else, I put trying to train in terms of a wrestler on the back burner because I just didn't want to get hurt and mess up, that opportunity.